Oh, thank you, Alex, for inviting us all to this, and hello, Eli, and hello, everyone. My name is Michael Muller. I'm a photographer. Um, I grew up with Jaws and had a huge fear of sharks my entire life until 15 years ago. I was like, all right, I want to see one of these. I want to get in the water, which I did. I went down to Guadalupe. And the minute I locked eyes with it, my life changed, my perception changed. And then I was just really naive and got educated on what's happening to our planet. I had no idea, we were killing 100 million sharks, had no idea half the Great Barrier Reef was gone, and so on and so on. And I have 3 daughters, and I said to myself, I don't think they're going to see all this. So yeah, I have done whatever I can. I just love the ocean. I love being underwater. It's a beautiful, beautiful planet we have. And can't wait to hear about all of the rest of you and what you're all up to.
Awesome. Going down my grid, Mike Coots right underneath Michael Muller. Please tell us about yourself.
Well, guys, Mike Coots here. I'm at home here on the island of Kauai, Hawaii. I lost my leg to a tiger shark when I was 18 riding waves here. 2010, I watched Rob Stewart's Shark Water, changed my life forever. I knew up to that point a lot of what sharks were doing to humans, but had no idea what humans were doing to sharks. And it was after that film I felt really compelled, I guess, to use the irony of the unique situation to do better. I'm a photographer by trade. In the last 4 or 5 years, I've absolutely fallen in love with photographing sharks and sharing stories on social media.
Awesome. Thank you. Morne Hardenberg. And Julie, if you wouldn't mind turning off your camera, it's just the button that's next to the microphone one. We're just trying to keep the cameras for the main speakers. It's okay, everyone's doing it. Morne, please. Your mute is still on, Morne, if you could turn off your mute.
Sorry, thanks, Eli. not very good with this. So yeah, I'm Morne Hardenberg from South Africa. I'm just a shark nut that spends a lot of time filming sharks and taking people diving with sharks all over the world. But I'm based in Cape Town, South Africa.
And you're a cinematographer. You're an amazing cinematographer. You're underwater with wives with cameras out of the cage.
Yeah, I've had an interesting run through the last 20 years, and all of my reason is white sharks. Getting into the water with white sharks when I was a kid kind of paved the way to where I am now. Yeah, I have a production company, so we do quite a bit of filming for networks, and also have a shark diving company called Shark Explorers. So we take people diving with different species of sharks, trying to show people that there's more sharks than just the big old great white.
Excellent. And now the amazing Sylvia Earle. For everyone in this room knows her, but please tell us about yourself for everyone listening.
We're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Earth Day today. And 50 years ago, I was getting ready to spend my first time that I had a chance to live underwater, 2 weeks, during the same time that footprints were still being left on the moon. Some of us were actually getting to know fish personally. It was transformative for me because I'd been diving for a while, had lots of hours underwater, but I'd never spent enough time in one place to get to know individual animals. Now we have grown into a different way of getting to know ocean wildlife, sharks, certainly. I love it that here in California, where I'm in Oakland now, the great whites that cruise along the shore, most of them have names, and certainly they have personality. People are getting to know them as never before, not as just pounds of meat or sport killing and all that, not just for but as important residents of the ocean, thinking of sharks and other creatures of the sea as wildlife. We lump them together and call creatures of the sea seafood. What's with that anyway? During my lifetime so far, as a scientist, I've really, it's come into focus very, very clearly that most of life on Earth is out there in the ocean, and never before have we known as much as we know. But we're facing a time when we've lost more than during all preceding human history, especially in the last 50 years. Learned more, lost more. So part of my history includes having been the chief scientist of NOAA, which is that agency that not only deals with satellites and the weather service and all that, but the National Marine Fisheries Service. It's not the fish service, it's fisheries. It's that part of the US government paid for by taxpayers that really supports fishermen, helps them learn where the fish are, what they do, how to catch them, how to market them. And I'm mindful that it's that agency back in 1980, during, ironically, something called the Year of the Ocean, 1980, that sharks were regarded as an underutilized group of species. And so NOAA, taxpayer money being spent to really encourage finding markets for sharks. And very specifically, as I recall, 10 years before I became chief scientist of NOAA, they went all the way to Asia to find markets for sharks caught in the United States, creating an appetite for sharks that were considered to be otherwise not useful. Well, I mean, fast forward to where we are now. We know sharks are critical elements in ocean ecosystems. It's not how much they're worth when they're dead, whether it's for their oil, their liver, for shark fin or shark skin, whatever it is. No, it's the live shark that's really valuable. We need sharks, and they need us right now as never before. Looking at the decline.
We're gonna talk about all of that, Sylvia. We're gonna it's so valuable
as a witness. So anyway.
I want everyone to really understand sort of how sharks are affecting. People think, look, we're all stuck in our houses because we don't know why, but the theory is someone ate a bat. So, I mean, the next thing, and they're still, as we've seen, they're still throwing the fins in the street and eating them. But it's affecting, it's going to affect everybody in many ways. But let's just get through the rest of I'd love to get through the rest of our gang, and then we'll start getting into this because it's so important what you're saying, Sylvia. Randall Arauz, you want to tell us about yourself, please?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for your attention. And yes, I'm really a sea turtle biologist. I studied sea turtles in college, and I became very concerned over bycatch issues, shrimp trawlers. And then in the late 80s, I became very concerned about the leatherback turtle, which was and is still going extinct before our very eyes. And studying, why the leatherbacks were going extinct, I stumbled upon the shark finning issue. That was back in 1997. And that's where we kind of like put two and two together. It's not really a shark problem or a turtle problem. It's an overfishing problem. And the turtles are going extinct because they're just innocent bystanders in this crazy fishery to catch the sharks with their fins, which Costa Rica was promoting. And I took that as my personal mission in life, which was to stop this slaughter. And right now, what I really want to try to do is give sharks the same kind of protection that sea turtles have. And that's total ban from international commerce, for starters.
Great. I couldn't agree more. Paul de Gelder, the amazing Paul de Gelder. Tell us a little about it.
Yeah, g'day. I'm honoured to be counted among all of these guests. I've been fortunate enough to either at least meet, and with some of you work alongside you in not just sharks, but in general conservation. So very blessed to be counted among you all, especially seeing that I used to hate sharks. Used to be terrified of them because I used to spend so much time in the water as a Navy diver. Every time I got in the water, I had sharks on the brain, but I had a job to get on with, so put it to the back of my mind and get on with it. And then one day a shark ate me, so that was pretty tough. But I never blamed the shark because I chose a dangerous life. And so you can't really get upset when you choose a path like that and then something goes wrong. It's kind of just the way it rolls. You got to accept it. But because my shark attack was such a big story in Australia, because no one had been attacked in Sydney Harbour in 60 years, the media got a hold of it and it blew it up pretty big. And so then every time there was a shark interaction in Australia and sometimes around the world, the media would come to me for an opinion. And so out of the desire of not looking and sounding like a dumbass on television, through necessity, I had to learn about sharks so I could give an educated opinion. And through doing that, through knowledge, that kind of dispelled my fear, as the old saying goes. And so the more I learned about sharks, the more I realized how little we had to fear of them and how much they should be afraid of us. And so, in the military, our role is to stand up for those that can't stand up for themselves, and speak up for those that don't have a voice. And when I transferred out of the Navy, because I wasn't going to get any career progression, I kind of assumed that role in the ocean and specifically for sharks, because one of the things I believe is that it's extremely wasteful to have a voice and not use it when it's listened to. So now I have the opportunity to, in a very condensed section of the year over Shark Week, to get everything off my chest and all of my passion and all of my love about sharks and ocean conservation and all that sort of stuff in this 1 week. But hopefully through my very strange platform, instill a love and a respect for sharks through my passion and my experiences, whether it's swimming with great whites without a cage or hand feeding bull sharks or whatever it is. I just really want to carry on what Rob was doing, carry on what Steve Earle was doing, and basically help people fall in love with these animals, because when you love something, you want to protect it. And so that's where I see my role these days.
We're gonna one of the things we'll get into is, for everyone watching, is how to get into the various disciplines. I know it's a little intimidating when you see people like Sylvia, Randall, and Michael, people that are really at the top of the field, but obviously we want to bring in new people as well.